Why God's chosen ones often feel alone. Biblical insight. Many faithful believers are surprised when their journey with God feels lonely. We often imagine being chosen by God should feel comforting, joyful, and supported, yet throughout Catholic understanding of salvation history, the opposite frequently appears true. The pages of the Bible reveal a recurring pattern. Those closest to God often walk through seasons of deep solitude. This loneliness is not a sign of abandonment. Instead, it is often evidence of divine formation. From the beginning, God has called individuals into solitude before sending them into mission. Consider Moses. Before leading Israel, he spent 40 years in the wilderness as a shepherd. From a human perspective, those years looked wasted, but spiritually, they were preparation ground. In silence, Moses learned dependence, humility, and obedience. This pattern appears repeatedly. God separates before he sends. The wilderness is not punishment, it is preparation. Loneliness becomes the classroom where trust grows. Without constant human affirmation, the heart learns to rely fully on God's voice. Prophets often walk alone. The life of a prophet is rarely popular. Take Jeremiah. Often called the weeping prophet, God chose him to speak truth to a nation that refused to listen. Jeremiah experienced rejection, mockery, imprisonment, and betrayal. At one point, he cried out to God in deep anguish, asking why his mission brought so much suffering, yet God never abandoned him. Instead, God reminded Jeremiah that he had been set apart before birth. This highlights a key spiritual reality. Being chosen does not mean being widely accepted. Sometimes the call to truth creates distance from the world. Elijah in the cave of despair. Loneliness can even touch the strongest believers. Elijah performed miracles, defeated false prophets, and witnessed God's power dramatically. Yet shortly after his greatest victory, he fled into the wilderness feeling completely alone and afraid. He told God, "I am the only one left." But God responded with tenderness, not condemnation. He provided rest, food, and reassurance. Then he revealed that Elijah was not truly alone. There were thousands of faithful believers hidden from his sight. This story teaches an important lesson. Spiritual loneliness often distorts our perspective. We may feel isolated, but God is quietly sustaining us and working beyond what we can see. King David's hidden years. Before becoming king, David lived years in obscurity and exile. Though anointed by God, he spent long periods hiding in caves, fleeing from danger, and enduring betrayal. David's Psalms reveal the emotional depth of these experiences. He frequently cried out to God in loneliness and longing, yet those prayers became some of the most powerful expressions of faith ever written. Catholic tradition sees the Psalms as a model of prayer because they show that loneliness can become dialogue with God, isolation can turn into intimacy. Even Jesus experienced loneliness. The ultimate example is Jesus Christ himself. Though surrounded by crowds, he often withdrew to lonely places to pray. His closest disciples sometimes misunderstood him. In his hour of greatest suffering, many abandoned him. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus asked his friends to stay awake and pray, but they fell asleep. On the cross, he experienced the deepest human sense of abandonment. This reveals a profound truth. Loneliness is not incompatible with holiness. Even the Son of God entered fully into human isolation. Mary's quiet strength. Catholic spirituality also reflects on the hidden solitude of Virgin Mary. She carried the mystery of Christ within her long before others understood it. She watched her son misunderstood, rejected, and crucified. Mary's path was one of quiet fidelity. Her loneliness became a participation in God's redemptive plan. This reminds believers that silent faithfulness has immense spiritual power. Why God allows loneliness. Catholic theology offers several spiritual reasons why chosen people often feel alone. 1. Too deep dependence on God. When human support fades, faith must grow stronger. Loneliness invites us to lean on God rather than approval, applause, or comfort. 2. To purify motivation. God gently removes distractions so the heart can love Him for who He is. 3. To strengthen spiritual identity. Being chosen means belonging to God first. This identity can create distance from worldly values. 4. To prepare for greater mission. Isolation often precedes transformation. The desert comes before the promised land. The hidden gift of spiritual loneliness, though painful, can become a sacred space. It strips away illusions and reveals what truly matters. It teaches perseverance, humility, and courage. Many saints describe solitude as the place where God speaks most clearly. What feels like silence may actually be invitation. You are never truly alone. One of the most comforting promises in Scripture is God's assurance. I am with you always, even when emotions say otherwise. Faith reminds us that God's presence does not depend on feelings. Throughout salvation history, God never abandoned those He called. He walked with them through deserts, caves, prisons, and crosses. The same is true today. A new way to see loneliness. Instead of viewing loneliness as rejection, Catholic spirituality invites us to see it as participation in God's work. It is often the path where faith matures and purpose becomes clear. If you feel alone in your spiritual journey, you are not failing, you may be growing. Loneliness is not the end of the story. In God's hands, it becomes preparation for deeper communion, stronger faith, and greater mission. The lives of God's chosen ones remind us of a powerful truth. Those who walk closely with God may sometimes walk quietly, but they never walk alone. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next video.